Honor and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHEM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHEM, HaRach. Also want to give double honors to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and honors to all you fellow laborers that are kicking this word in sincerity and in faith. Yahawah, BAHASHEM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHEM, HaRach BARAK to all you sincere listeners. And as you can see, there's a brother bringing it out hot in the spirit. He's in Central Africa. I don't know if he's in the Congo or wherever. Lord's will. I'm sure a brother is going to correspond with him, one of the elders. And yeah, there's 3 brothers out there, and it says what? Judah is rising up. As you can see, GMS Central Africa. Hey, and this lesson, I want to go into how a lot of our people are in Africa. There's a whole lot of Africans are really Hebrew Israelites. That's the name of the lesson. And because I was getting my hair braided yesterday by some Cameroonian young woman, which I believe they're Levites through the spirit, because you go into the Cameroonians, they were colonized by the so-called French, so they speak French, and they pretty much had the equivalent of Def Comedy Jam or Showtime at the Apollo on when I was there, and they were speaking in the French language, and the mother was there. She had a real warmth about her. She was genuinely excited to see me. This is the second time I went over there. You know, you could tell they were Israelites. You could tell it was a family type of thing. And the spirit had it that the so-called white man, the so-called Frenchman in particular, they were fixing something on the house, and they just was giving me dirty looks. And when I left, we just had a stare down, me and Esau. We had a stare down, and I went my way. And then he continued to work, to work. And because these devils, they can sense that the connection is coming back between our people over there in Africa and over here. See, our people are clicking up wherever we're at. All right, so I'm gonna get into the scriptures. This is the book of Isaiah 11 and 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. Yeah, and that's talking about our Lord Yahawashi, a root of Jesse. All right, because Jesse was the father of who? King David. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria. Yeah, a lot of so-called Assyrians are really Israelites. And there's a lot of Assyrians when you go to San Jose in the Bay Area in particular. I actually trained an Assyrian woman. And from Egypt and from Pathros, which Egypt and Pathros is the same thing, because Pathros is classified as Upper Egypt. Because when you go into the history, which my relative, my so-called cousin, he's real heavy into Egyptology, Gadite guy, and so he would always talk about that. So from Egypt and from Pathros, which when you look up Pathros, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna just go into it. Look at him, Pathros. This is clearly a so-called black man. All right, and this is what's on Wikipedia. That's the picture. See, it has something else up. You'll see, or the southern land. See, it refers to Upper Egypt. All right, so our people are over there, all in Egypt. And from Cush, which Cush are the so-called Ethiopians, Eritreans, which a lot of them, I say the majority of them so-called Eritreans, those are Israelites. I don't remember meeting an Eritrean that wasn't an Israelite. And from Elam, I actually used to train this guy, and he might be back in the land of Elam. He's a so-called South Asian, so-called East Indian. And you know what? He said that in the reincarnation, he wants to come back as a Benjamite. He wanted to come back as a Jamaican, because he always click with Jake. And I said, man, you know what? Just the way that he was and like his spirit, he would have had to have been an Israelite, and he probably was an actual Benjamite. And from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. Yeah, Shinar, the land of Shinar, that's the so-called Middle East around Babylon, or ancient Babylon, meaning Iraq, Iran. And from the islands of the sea. Yeah, because you got a lot of Israelites in the Philippines as well. A lot of so-called Filipinos, they're really Israelites, whether they be Judah or there's a lot of Issacharites out there. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Now, what did this brother say? Judah is rising up, GMS Central Africa. You see? So this prophecy is being fulfilled right now. And BARAK AHTHA YAHAWASHI for that. Because what's the curse? Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Now I'm going to read it. One curse. Verse 64. And the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. That's right, which that's spiritual because that symbolizes Christianity and Islam, which those are the two major religions that our people are into, so-called religions. And you have our people, their ancestors, their forefathers who went astray, were serving other gods, the gods of the lands. But what's happening now? They're being gathered. All right. He's gathering together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. So is this prophecy taking place? Of course it is. Let me X out of that. Yeah, this is Hebrewisms of West Africa, which I believe we have the book. Yet because I like to record the screen, I'm just bringing out the PDF. You know, YAHAWAH, I'll go into it some more, but I just want to touch on, I'm not going to read anything from this book. I just want to touch on, you know, the chapters. And this is a so-called white man who put this book together. From Nile to Niger with the Jews. Look, Ashanti influence on Jamaican customs. Like Korah mentions, I believe I mispronounced that. You know, Salaki, forgive me. Right, and you just go into it. Gold Coast slaves, specifically Ashanti, and he's just going into it. Right, the Ashanti of West Africa, the Ashanti Hebrewisms. Which, when you go into it, a lot of the this group in particular, and YAHAWAH, I'll do a video on it. Maybe I'll get one of the Levite brothers. These this group in particular, they're Ashanti, and they initially were in Jamaica, but they ended up in Haiti because they got banished. You know, that's in the history. I believe it's in this book, and if not this book, it's in another book. I remember reading that some years back. Right, the Ashanti of West Africa, Ashanti Hebrewisms, supreme being of the Ashanti, other Hebrewisms in West Africa. Right, you got the Yorubas. Look, so the so-called white man knows. Line of the tribe of Judah, desert people. Bam. And then right here in this book, From Babylon to Timbuktu, by Rudolph R. Windsor, which we all, every brother has this book, or every camp has this book. What does it say? When you go to page 84. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves, which really that's Israelites. Okay. And then he has the precept, which the Spirit just had me bring out. So there you go. That's all in the history. And right here, this is the Zambian Observer. So this is one of the official newspapers, online newspapers of Zambia, which that's in Southern Africa. The true story of the true Hebrews has never been told. So this truth is out, man. You know, and they go into everything. And you brothers can, you brothers can go into it more, if you want. I'm just touching on this briefly, just to let you know that, hey, this is known. All right, there's a great gathering taking place right now. You see, this is just updated. This is like one of their official repudiated source, man. Why? Because Judah is rising up. BARAK AHTHA YAHAWASHI. Hey, because for a while, the prominent Israelites was really coming out of where? America, the West Indies, so-called Caribbean. Because when you go into the history, and there's no new thing under the sun, in ancient Babylon, what happened? I'm gonna start at the top, 2 Kings 25. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came, he and all his hosts, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and they built forts against it round about. And the city was besieged unto the 11th year of King Zedekiah. And on the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people in the land. And the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled by night by the way of the gate between two walls, which is by the king's garden. Now the Chaldees were against the city round about, and the king went the way towards the plain. And the army of the Chaldees pursued after the king, and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and all his army were scattered from him. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon, to Riblah, and they gave judgment upon him. And they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babylon. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem. And he burnt the house of the Lord YAHAWAH, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt he with fire. And all the army of the Chaldees that were with the captain of the guard broke down the walls of Jerusalem round about. Now the rest of the people that were left in the city, and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babylon, with the remnant of the multitude, did Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carry away. But the captain of the guard left of the poor of the land to be vine dressers and husbandmen. Yeah, and that's why you had a lot of our people that were still left. Because I always refer back to this. And it's pretty much the same thing. There were still a lot of our people left in the land. That's why Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, the 68th verse, it wasn't fully fulfilled on all of our people. You see? Which is why Judah is rising up in Central Africa. Okay? All right, let me X some of this out. Hey, because what does scripture say here in Ecclesiastes 1 and 9? The thing that have been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Yeah, no new thing under the sun. That's why there's an old saying, history repeats itself. Because our power just runs everything back. When you go into it, who was taken to Babylon? Daniel's 1 and 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord YAHAWAH gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of the Most High, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God, and he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his power. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. You see? Because that's why Judah, Benjamin, and Levi over here in the Americas is renowned. Yet now what's happening? You got Israelites from West Africa. They're getting a lot of shine. Because before it was like we had Sade, Fela Kuti, certain Israelites that were in Ghana and Nigeria. Yet the real prominent ones, the real prominent Israelites was coming out of America, the West Indies, because that's the king's seed, man. And that's why I remember Apostle DeHart used to say, "Look, ain't nobody really coming out of Africa like that." And this is when we first got on YouTube. Yet the Spirit started revealing, hey, you know what? There's a lot of Israelites still left over there. And what I just brought out here in 2 Kings, the 25th chapter, it gives more understanding, because Daniel's the first chapter says what? Those that were taken into Babylon were of the king's seed. All right. So these are like real super high level jakes. Those of us that survived and made it over here, that survived the middle passage, we're of a very high stock, which all Israel is. Yet there's levels to this thing, as the old saying goes. Yet and still, there's high level jakes over there in West Africa, man. And guess what's happening? They coming over here to America. Hey, like Joel Embiid, right? This man, and this dude is a straight up Jake. He got to be Judah. Oh, Yaoundé. He's from Yaoundé. That go back to Judah. He's a Cameroonian. And I was trying to talk to him. See, it's the capital of it's the capital. And this goes back to Judah. All right. These are Judites right here. This is a Judite right here. Right, Joel Embiid. He just started. Look, he just started playing basketball. See, he originally planned to play professional volleyball in Europe, but started playing basketball at age 15, modeling his game after NBA Hall of Famer center Hakeem Olajuwon, which he was what? A Nigerian. So the Lord is having all these so-called West Africans being revealed as Israelites, having them come out. They come over here. They talking shit with Jake. They dunking. Oh, and one of the main players right now, besides him, is my man right here. They call him the Greek Freak, which he's from Greece, but really his parents are Nigerian. You see, a Greek professional basketball player of Nigerian descent, and I believe he's Igbo. I don't know if they say, but I believe he's Igbo. You got this man, and I'm bringing up basketball because I watch basketball. You know, you brothers could add on, you know, go into soccer, go into music. Yeah, a lot of these musicians now, they're really Nigerian. Oh, what's the guy's name? This dude, he sings that song, I'm a Classic Man. He is so-called Nigerian. Who else? I think this Jake he's from Long Beach, but he's really a Nigerian too. But yeah, look, he's from Cameroon, Judah. Is a Cameroonian professional basketball player for the Toronto Raptors, right? And they're all good, great basketball players. So you mean to tell me that they're not Israelites? You mean to tell me that these are some Hamites, especially after going into this history? Oh no, just because they're over there, they're Hamites. No, man, that's not true at all. Especially after going into this history. Yep. Football player. Yeah, a lot of football players. Brian Arakpo. He used to play for the Redskins. He has a gang of them Nigerians are in football. They're in sports, and is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi over there. You know, so that's it. Oh, I see. I got my fan New Earth Son on the comment board. But hey, all praise, honor, and glory goes to YAHAWAH, BAHASHEM YAHAWASHI, the YAHWAH BAHASHEM YAHAWASHI, for giving me the RAKAKWADASH, the Holy Spirit, to do this lesson. I pray it was edifying, and shalom to the elect.